Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of The Natural State of Wrestling. We're recording this podcast episode right after our interview with El Intocable Gino Medina, just in case you noticed that we were wearing the same shirts from that last interview. We did want to talk about the situation with Vince McMahon. And I know that at the moment, I believe they're having a staff meeting talking about, who knows what they're talking about, right? But Justin here is going to take over and just kind of, tell us a little bit about what the article says, and then we can kind of have a discussion about it. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, so this was first reported by the Wall Street Journal, I believe, this morning after retiring over the summer as chairman and CEO of WWE. Vince is back. He retained, I believe it was 88% of the shares of WWE, even though it's a publicly traded company. He was by far and away the majority shareholder. WWE released a statement today saying that two of its board members had resigned and that Vince would be replacing them with two people that had been prior co-presidents of WWE, and that a third board member was leaving as well and would be replaced by Vince. He released a statement saying that he would like to be the executive chairman of the board, and wants to conduct a strategic review of the company. And until that happens, as a majority shareholder, he will not support or approve any media rights deal or sale. And that is directly from him. And now the board members that left, I believe Stephanie McMahon and Paul Levesque are board members, but they were not the two that left. So, and Paul Levesque, you more likely know as Triple H, are both still on the board. None of the management changed. So Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are still co-CEOs of WWE. Paul Levesque is still the head of content. But as we stand today, while WWE is having their employee meeting, presumably about everything that is going down, Vince McMahon is back on the board of directors with two allies that appear to give him a majority of control over the board of directors again. That's all breaking as of today. As you all probably already know, the reason Vince retired over the summer was to multiple allegations of sexual misconduct, which led to an investigation conducted by the board. We won't get into those allegations here, but I think Vince's record with that kind of thing is fairly well known in the wrestling community, and that was also first reported on by the Wall Street Journal. So that's kind of where we are with everything. Is Vince is back, and it looks like the reason he is back is a potential sale of WWE.
Man, like I kind of had a feeling this would happen. I just didn't. I don't know. It seemed to me that it was just too good to be true that he would just leave.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people know, Vince, WWE is his life. And I thought to myself, what is he gonna do, now that he's gone? Like how, because he let, WWE consume like his entire 24 hours. You hear from people talking about how he's constantly there, constantly working out like 2 a.m, 3 a.m because he's so busy during the day. But for me, it's kind of sad because I kind of feel like things were starting to look up from a creative standpoint.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's a pretty wide support for that belief with the way that Triple H has been running creative lately. You're seeing a lot more performers that were in the NXT Black and Gold brand start to come back. You're seeing a lot more long-term storytelling. When Vince left, the stock price went up. And I think WWE has started to make some really good progress in coming out of the Vince McMahon era of things. And so it's really disappointing to hear this. Now, I would say that the only sliver of possible hope coming out of this is if this does lead to a WWE sale, which we're not certain that it does, and we wouldn't speculate on any buyers or anything like that. But if that were to happen, I mean, maybe that whoever takes over puts Vince out of the picture completely. But then that leaves so many other unanswered questions. Do they bring in their own creative teams? Do they leave Triple H in charge of creative? Do they replace Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan in their executive positions? There's a lot up in the air, and I think right now it's just really sad to see Vince coming back.
Yeah, imagine if Tony Khan enters the chat. Hey, oh, you don't know what could happen, right?
Tony Khan tweeted something earlier today.
What did he say? I was waiting for a tweet. I guess I missed it.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't directly about this. Let me see if I can find it while we're here. But it was pretty funny. It was really tongue in cheek.
He likes doing that, Tony.
Yeah, here it is. Everyone at work is being so nice to me these past 24 hours. I wonder why. It must be holiday spirit. See
Damn.
on TNT for 2 hours and then makes plugs for Rampage and Battle of the Belts.
That's funny though. That's funny. It sucks for people like William Regal, who just went back.
Man.
Hopefully, well, who knows? Maybe there's enough respect for him there where he will get the respect that he deserves, and hopefully he keeps that same role, because I think he was going to the WWE to be like vice president. I think that's the title that people were talking about that he was going to have, and if Triple H comes out of control and Stephanie McMahon steps down, you just don't know. I feel for the talent more than anything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's cool to see news like this because you're just like, okay, what's gonna happen if he's coming back? Is he gonna sell it? It's exciting to speculate, right? But I just feel for the talent, because I feel like if it does lead to a sell, that usually means that people are gonna be let go. Some of the wrestlers. It just kind of seems that way because every year they do those budget cuts for business reasons, and who knows what a sell of a company, what kind of business ideas or plans that they have if they do that. And then Vince is 77 years old already. Hopefully, I just hope he doesn't get involved with creative, but I kind of feel like that's where this is going to lead to.
Yeah, it's almost like he can't really help himself. I mean, he's been doing this his whole life, and it just got, somebody said on Twitter, it was like that he's just not going to be able to help himself with this control. He's going to see something he's going to want to change. He's going to see a storyline that he wanted dead that is back, and I think you're right to think about the talent first, because I mean, this is a really human situation that, I mean, I think gets lost. It's easy to dunk on Vince. I mean, there's no shortage of stuff there to talk and make fun of. I mean, he's horrible, but I think in that we kind of lose thinking about how this is going to really impact a lot of people's lives and their families' lives. People that were released over the last few years because of budget cuts and have been brought back, that they don't have any career solidness at all. And especially because, I mean, I know it's more of an industry standard to treat wrestlers as independent contractors rather than actual employees. And I mean, that's a problem that multiple wrestling companies need to fix. But I think WWE, more than most, has taken advantage of that over its talent, and really, in a lot of ways, abused their workers. And it kind of just felt like maybe that if it wasn't going to change completely, that we were starting to trend away from that, and that hope was coming. And now with this, it just throws so much uncertainty back into those people's lives, and I hate that for them.
Yeah, and I saw this part of because it was like a letter that was written. I believe it was written by Vince McMahon uh, late last year, last month. And there was a part of it that said, I would like to, I think this was Vince McMahon. It says Vince McMahon's response to WWE Board of Directors. He says, I would like to be clear that unless I have direct involvement and input as executive chairman from the outset, I will not be able to support or approve any social media rights deals or strategic transaction. So am I reading that correctly by saying that like the company, like he's pretty much saying like unless I have this power, then nothing will be able to be done with any, let me read this correctly. Well, pretty much just saying that like he's still the boss and things will still have to go through him to be approved, which is we're back at square one from where we were at a few months ago, right? Am I reading this correctly?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that's the statement that he released last night. And before he was on the board, now WWE released a statement today saying that he is officially back on the board with.
Do you think he shows up on SmackDown tonight?
God, I hope not. They have to know that would be a disaster.
But his last day, he showed up. And
I know.
Walk to the ring, say his little spiel for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then walk out. So I would not be surprised if we open up with Vince McMahon.
And that episode after he retired the last time, where Stephanie led that "Thank you, Vince" chant, the crowd.
I get like they're trying to preserve his legacy, but if a lot of these allegations come true, I don't know. It's tainted already, I believe. And I think the right move was for him to leave. And I don't understand why he wants to come back. If they do sell it, like why he would want to come back. I'm guessing, and you can tell me if you think I'm right based on my observations. If he does sell it, I mean, since he has the majority of the shares, he gets most of the money, right? If not all of it.
Yeah. I mean, because of his overwhelming share, he would get most of that money, depending on how they negotiate the deal. And I can break a little, or add a little bit more. Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful is reporting from the employee meeting that employees were told that day-to-day is not going to change across the board. Vince McMahon was mentioned, and his power as controlling shareholder was also mentioned. And talent were told about the possibility of a sale, as well as media rights. Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Frank Riddick, who is a name I am not as familiar with, the meeting. It was noted that WWE's sale could be a huge positive, and that they would be looking at potential sale offers before negotiating rights fees. But Vince McMahon will have the final say on any sale, and that said sale might not happen, and the company could be taken private if there is a sale. So that's interesting news too.
And shout out to Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.
Yes.
Who always does a great job at keeping all of us wrestling fans informed. I don't know what to think about it. I do feel like we'll note. Will we even notice any changes? Because I mean, there's obviously been changes, right? Positive changes. Ricochet getting more TV time, Bray Wyatt. Um, I hope we don't, deviate away from that, because it just kind of seems like it was going the right direction. Maybe not even close to where we wanted it to be, right? But with Triple H in power, there's been a lot of positives, enough to make me want to watch WWE here and there, because I was not watching it at all.
Yeah.
Past few years when Vince was in power, I just catch little here SmackDown clips here and there, watch a little NXT, but Raw was just unbearable to watch for me for like the past
Yeah.
three. I can't. And I used to always like, since I was a little kid, Justin, from like 5, 6 years old, I would watch for the entire 2 hours every Monday, every week. It was exciting, but I don't know, something about it nowadays just doesn't catch my attention. So whenever I heard about, Triple H taking over, I watched that first full episode, of Triple H's reign, as the head honcho. But it hasn't had the changes that I expected or wanted. But hopefully we continue that route of things improving, and hopefully Vince doesn't get involved as much creatively. Kind of sounds like they're kind of hinting at that he won't, but you just never know. He might show up on SmackDown tonight.
Yeah. And it's important to clarify that talent was not on this meeting. This meeting was for employees only.
Okay.
So talent was not. So I'm not sure how much they felt that they needed to talk about talent related issues with talent not being on the call. I'm sure and hope that they'll have a meeting with their talent after this.
And it's going to be interesting just the next few weeks or days, actually days, not doing weeks, just
Yeah.
seeing these news sites, like Fightful and all these other sites, what kind of information they're able to get in regards to where this is heading, and just to see how it affects, recruiting for
Yeah.
wrestlers, because they just signed the Mexican superstar from AAA
Yeah.
week, and supposedly NXT wasn't going to be looking out for these like already made stars. They were going to focus on just getting folks that are athletic, and hopefully trying to get them signed and trained. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I am too. And it's tough to say that WWE has completely changed with Triple H at the helm. I mean, we saw all that stuff that happened to Mandy Rose a couple weeks ago. So there are parts of WWE that are so ingrained in the culture there that I don't think we're going to see a 180 change, no matter who is running the company. But I think it's undeniable the level to which creative has changed in that specific aspect of WWE. Hopefully Vince doesn't come back and get involved in that. Hopefully he stays out of the company entirely. But a lot of unanswered questions right now.
Like I said, and I'll reiterate, my thoughts are with the talent, with the employees. I'm hoping that this doesn't have any negative repercussions, specifically, for the folks that just came back. Man, I just hope justice is served someday.
Me too.
Because in these stories, in these allegations, there's victims, there's folks that maybe aren't treated the best within the company, and then they kind of saw like the saving light when Vince left, that there was potential for the company to be better in all ways, and just the day-to-day operations, but at the same time also for the talent that's on TV, opportunities. I've just kind of been seeing Ricochet as an example of someone that's been giving an opportunity to shine more. LA Knight, these folks that we're finally getting to see, to their fullest potential on TV, and then to have that be reversed, I think would be a big disappointment.
I think so too. And I think particularly with the women's division, you're seeing a lot more focus on it. You're seeing it a lot more in main events. And there was some reporting that, and I wish I could remember the source. And if I did, I'd credit them. But there was reporting when John Laurinaitis got fired, that there was like a sigh of relief in the women's division that things were finally going to start changing. And WWE has always had some very top-notch female talent, and it done a better job than some companies at showcasing that talent.
Yeah.
But there's been some backstage issues that have been very, very problematic. And I just hope we don't see a return to any of that.
Definitely. Well, any other final thoughts, Justin, before we end this episode focused on the subject?
Nothing for me, but for any of our listeners, if you'd like to engage in this discussion, we'll have this up on YouTube and on social media. So we'd love to hear your thoughts there.
And follow us. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, and under the Natural State of Wrestling podcast, you'll see our little animated faces on the actual profile picture. So make sure you follow us there. But yeah, this was just a mini episode. Just kind of wanted to, touch a little bit about the subject and hopefully, start a discussion. And I think you'll be seeing a lot of this besides, like our weekly shows where we'll talk about, AEW or what we saw of Raw or SmackDown. We also want to have like mini episodes like this where we talk about a specific subject. So you'll definitely be getting some of these. But once again, please follow our social media. We'll link everything in the description. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll catch you all next week. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.